Hey everybody, Mark Johnson here, founder and creative director of Abe Studios, dropping in with another movie review. And the movie that I'll be reviewing today is entitled The Nightingale. It is a 2018 film release and is written and directed by Jennifer Kent. Set in 1825, Clare, a young Irish convict woman, chases a British officer through the rugged Tasmanian wilderness. Bent on revenge for a terrible act of violence he committed against her family. On the way, she enlists the services of an Aboriginal tracker named Billy, who was also marked by trauma from his own violence-filled past. When I was first introduced to this film, it was one of the trailers that came before the film that I was scheduled to watch, and that's usually how I find a lot of the films that I actually do watch and review, is through that, just seeing the trailer and actually taking the time to watch it. And in this case, my kind of like initial reaction toward the film was more or less kind of feeling that it was kind of partly a revenge type film, but then also thinking that it might be a little supernatural, kind of a horror film. Taking that into account and finding the movie and getting a chance to an opportunity to watch the film, I realized that that necessarily wasn't the case. As the storyline kind of gives you an idea of what it's about, it takes it a whole different direction, and that was surprising, but it was also a pleasant surprise as I watched the film. I will say this, there are some scenes in the film that are, difficult to watch. And my initial viewing of it, I was like, okay, maybe I don't review this film. How am I going to explain this? I didn't know this was going to happen, but I think as you watch the film and you get past those parts, you can kind of really see that the film is really a good film, and that those parts are necessary to create the film that you get by the end of the film. Some people may be triggered by it. It is a rated R film, so it's rated appropriately in the sense that everything else is pretty much normal. From there, I think that the story, like I mentioned, or has a lot of different layers, in the sense that at first you're thinking it's going to be a revenge film, then you start to realize it's kind of like a commentary of colonization, talking about, or actually showing you what colonization did to the people, the Aboriginal people of that area and at that time, and how just kind of people in general live their lives, and in the case of Clare, who was the main character, played by Aisling Franciosi, she did a great job. I think that her performance was, it had to be on point, basically, in the sense that, she's the main character and a lot of the scenes involve her, and it needs to be believable. It needs to be, watching it and understanding that this is way things were at that time, and I believe she did a great job on that. I think the other character that played against her in the majority of the film was Billy, which was her tracker, and his name is Bay Kali Grambar, I believe that it is, and he got great performance as well. There's some points where I don't know if it was supposed to be made to be funny, but got some chuckles out of me. And I really liked his presence in the film. And then as they move along in the film, the story develops, you kind of see how they unlayer, each of their story, and how they have kind of things that are intertwining, things that kind of go both ways in their post-traumatic stress kind of situations. I always talk about bad guys. In this film, it has a definite bad guy or group of bad guys, and the actor Sam Claflin plays the character Hawkins, and he's definitely a bad guy. I think at a certain point in the film, you are definitely hoping he gets his up and comings, and that it is as painful as possible. And by the end of the film, you see how it plays out, and it's maybe not the typical ending that you may expect or want, but I think Jennifer Kent did a great job in bringing the whole story to an end it's just refreshing. It's just a nice end to a film that was, part brutal, part, heartwarming, and I think at another sense, just kind of a great journey. And so again, I understand there are some tough scenes in the film, but I think if you can make your way through those, you'll end up with a film seeing a film that's definitely worthwhile. I think another point that I should point out is that Jennifer Kent was also the filmmaker who did Babadook. I've not seen the film, but I've always heard good things about it, and so now that I've actually seen a film from her and her caliber of filmmaking, I'll definitely probably go back and review that film as well. In the end, The Nightingale, a 2018 film release written and directed by Jennifer Kent, had both great performances, a great story, an interesting story with many layers. It also even shines a light on an era and in a place that I didn't know necessarily a lot about, but I think, I understand the idea of colonization and how there are both good things and bad things that came out of that. The performances of the main character, Clare, which is Aislinn Francosi, and then Billy, which is by Callie Grumbar, were great. I think the overall acting performances were well. Definitely the bad guy was a strong bad guy, which propels a lot of the story in a sense. If there's anything, I think the tough scenes could have been shortened, just kind of to give it an opportunity for other audiences to see it. Again, it's rated R, but I think at the same time, if they're just shortened a little bit, abbreviated, that might have been helpful. So for the film, The Nightingale, I'm going to give it a solid 4. I believe it was a great film. Even with the tough scenes, if you work through that, by the end of the film, you will have gone on a journey, a real journey, to a point where the ending is satisfaction. There's some satisfaction from that, or at least some relief. So that has been my review for The Nightingale, a 2018 film released by Jennifer Kent. If you did like this film review, please give this film review a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing with the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you have any comments, questions regarding this film, or if you want to recommend a film for me to review, make sure to leave those comments in the comment box below. They'll be greatly appreciated. Lastly, if you don't want to miss any of my upcoming posts, make sure to ring that bell. Again, that is my film review for The Nightingale, a 2018 film release written and directed by Jennifer Kent. And like we always do at this time, have a blessed day. I will see you on the flip side. Let's go.